Welcome to Too Cool for Middle School. It's been a while since I've done an update video. I just wanted to let you know how the beginning of the school year is going so far. I've actually been working really hard on a couple of other kind of back to school themed videos that should be out pretty soon. But in the meantime, I just wanted to check in with you guys and see how you're doing. If you're new here, my name is Megan and I teach 6th grade history and 8th grade English in Southern California. So we are all virtual. I've just been teaching online. Some days I teach from home and some days I teach from here. It's not really pre-planned, which is kind of a problem. I don't know. I just kind of decide the day of. I kind of like just staying at home, but I have to take my son to daycare. So I have to get up and leave the house anyway. So then sometimes I just end up coming to my classroom because it's nice and quiet. And I have this really big table here actually that is kind of nice to work from. At home, I literally teach from a cart that has books stacked on it, and then I just have to balance my laptop on it. So the upside of teaching from here is that I have this huge table. I've got 2 laptops and a laptop stand and a nice microphone and all of that. But the upside of being at home is that my refrigerator is right there, my coffee machine is right there. I can go check the mail. In between classes, I can go sit out in my front yard at lunchtime and stuff. So there's pros to both actually. It's nice teaching in both places really. We just completed our 3rd full week of online instruction. I was saying on Instagram the other day that the first couple weeks were pretty good because online teaching and Zoom and all that is actually it's pretty good for just kind of getting to know your students, getting them set up on the different platforms. I like to use Nearpod quite a bit, so doing some Nearpods, using some Google Slides, watching some videos, stuff like that. But then this week we got into actual content, reading a story from the textbook, and they had to do that all on their own. And then you come back to class and it's pretty obvious that several people didn't do the reading, and to then differentiate without being near them is hard. I've been utilizing breakout rooms, and so they go into their breakout rooms just so that they don't have to hear me talk anymore for a few minutes, because I don't know, they don't really take the opportunity to talk in the full group. And then even when someone does, their voice is usually really laggy for whatever reason, and you cannot understand them. So we use the chat when we're in full group mode, and then I send them out into breakout rooms. And I have such big classes that the breakout rooms are usually groups of 3 to 4, but then it's 9 breakout rooms. So even though I go in and try to check on everybody, they're pretty hard for me to see if people are actually engaging or whatever. So yeah, that's a little bit hard. I had some complaints today from kids that some students weren't helping or doing what they were supposed to do. Another thing that's been tough is we did have some Zoom bombers during several classes. It's tough to tell who they are, if it's just totally random people or if it's students from a different class and they're just playing a joke or whatever. I do have a waiting room, so now I just don't let kids in if I don't recognize their name on the roster. But again, I have 210 students or something like that, and I haven't memorized exactly what period everyone is in, so sometimes I'm not sure if there's a Ashley G in this class or whatever. So a couple of times I've accidentally let somebody in who wasn't supposed to be there, but you can tell very quickly if they're not supposed to be there. And then a few times they've just actually used the names of kids in my class. So I don't know, we're still just trying to figure out exactly how all of this works. And I think Google Meet is more secure, but right now they don't have the features that we need. It's nice to have Zoom to run off reports of who was there and to easily do breakout rooms and stuff. I think the basic Meet features are gonna be updated by October, but at the moment they're not. You need 12 extensions to do anything. So I don't know. But that's a concern, having like absolute security. Like I want my students to be 100% secure in the Zoom meetings or the meets or whatever we do. Like, that's probably like the number one thing on my mind right now. And then I'm like, oh yeah, and we need to like teach and learn and do stuff. And then to be honest, like I've just been so busy. I have so many other things happening right now that like school is not the most stressful thing in my life. So even though like, yeah, school is stressful, like I'm able to like problem solve for the most part when it comes to my classes and like, you know, get my lesson plans written, digitize everything that I've done in the past and now make it like Zoom friendly, Google Slides friendly, whatever. But I have so much else going on that I don't get very much sleep. I hardly have time to eat. I don't have time to relax or do anything fun. I just work constantly, and it'll be that way for the next couple of weeks. Like there's an end in sight, but at the moment there's no time for a break of any kind. Another thing that's a little bit different is that like last year when we're in school, we have 7 periods a day, and we do have a rotating schedule, so it's a little bit confusing, but I see every student every day. Now, just because like that's a lot to have 7 different Zooms and classes every single day, like that would be really difficult. So we created a new schedule where kids just have like 3 classes a day. So then I don't see every kid every day. So like if I post something, or like, you know, I posted grades for the first time the other day and kids had questions about grades, typically they could just come to class the next day and like raise their hand and ask a question, and I could like cover it for everybody, and within 24 hours every single kid would understand whatever the like update was or whatever. But now it might be like 3 more days before I finally get to every single class and can like clarify something for them. So I get like tons of emails, and I don't really have time to like individually tell everybody the same answer over and over again. So then I'll like put an announcement on Google Classroom, but they're not necessarily in the habit of checking that. So it's just like, I recognize that it's stressful. Like I was telling my kids today, like I know it's stressful because like you have questions for me, but you're not gonna see me for a few days. And so, you know, you're just trying to get your answers and sending me an email, but then I'm getting 55 emails. And I can't respond to all of them. So I'm trying to be really organized and like put as much information on like my Google site and on Google Classroom. I use daily slides. Like the information is always available to students, but I think every teacher does things like slightly differently, and they're just not quite used to my style yet. So communication, it can just be hard. I'll just give you a few updates about what we have been doing so far. We've been using vocabulary quite a bit. I have like the district-wide, school-wide, whatever subscription, so my kids can like take the quizzes and do the read and respond and watch the videos. So for my 6th grade history students, that has been really good. Gosh, the other thing that is difficult always about the beginning of the year for 6th grade history is it's ancient history. So like the first lesson is like the history of the entire world. Like real quick, here's the history of the whole world. Here's a timeline on a football field. This is what it would look like. I can link that video down below for you, but to teach such complex topics to 6th graders is difficult in person, and then virtually it's like even harder. So like, you know, we're just starting the year with, okay, here's the history of the entire world. Here's the history of all humans for all time. Like we have to get that out of the way to begin with. And so yeah, I've just like found some good videos. I found a lot of information online, to be honest, but most of it is just not gonna be comprehensible to 6th graders. It's not gonna work. It's nothing I can give them, you know, like in a flipped classroom setting to do by themselves. It's not even really something that I can use while we're in class and like show them videos and then like pause and do film notes or anything like that. Like most of it's just not usable. I've found the Big History Project, is that what it's called? I've found their stuff to be interesting to me, but fairly useless for 6th graders. But we spent a few days on my Moana lesson. I love using that scene in Moana where her grandmother shows her the ships that are like hidden in that cave. So that's like an artifact, right? Like she learns about the history of her people through this artifact, and since it's a Disney movie, she magically can like see a vision of how these ships sailed on the seas in the past. But really, like, that's what the artwork is, like on the sails and on the ships and everything. So we use that as kind of an example of how you can learn about a people's history through artifacts. And so I have I switched it all into like a whole Google Slides presentation and assignment that students can use. So that was really fun this year, so I can link that down below for you if you want to do like an artifact lesson. It ended up taking a couple of days. It took longer than I thought, to be honest. Oh, and then we used Brain Pop also. So Brain Pop was actually pretty good. It's just like a bummer, like you don't want to introduce your kids to too many platforms because it just gets kind of overwhelming. And I really like Brain Pop for a couple of lessons, but honestly, we only use it like 4 to 5 times in an entire school year because they don't have very much content for 6th grade ancient history. Actually, kind of the same with vocabulary. They have a little bit more on vocabulary. We use it like once per unit, I guess, but they also had like a cool like timeline and chronology lesson and stuff. So we do use vocabulary a little bit more. But yeah, 6th grade history content, all that ancient history stuff, is just super hard to find grade level appropriate resources for. So this is the, you know, the hurdle that I face every single year, but now I'm also having to present everything virtually. And, you know, I'm trying to keep in mind, like if a kid does get kicked out of the Zoom, their Wi-Fi goes down, it's really hard for them to log back in, they should still be able to do the assignment on their own. So I'm trying to keep things simple enough that they are able to make things up or understand it, even if, you know, they like couldn't really hear me because their speakers weren't working or my Wi-Fi was weird or whatever. Like I want there to be a backup plan so that they're able to like access everything even if there's some kind of a technical issue. So I'm trying to keep things simple, but yeah, it's tough. For my 8th graders, I've done quite a few things. I'm pretty happy with how the 8th grade English year is going so far. I'm structuring my year around the teaching tolerance social justice standards. So the first quarter is all about identity. So we've read sections of a couple of books, and I mean, I just take pictures of the pages of the books and then just put them on a Google Slide and put those Google Slides into Google Classroom. And so then they just have the excerpts. Like it's nothing that I can share with anybody. Like that's very illegal. It might even be illegal to share excerpts with my students. I don't know. I hope not, but we're not in class. So normally in class, I could at least just like read it to them, and yeah, we can't do that. So anyway, so far we've read a chapter called Black Like Me from With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. We also listened to a chapter, and Elizabeth Acevedo read it from Clap When You Land. We read a chapter of American as Paneer Pie, and we also paired that with a Hassan Minhaj video where he interviews a bunch of students about like their DAZEY identity. So really the first reading that we did was like explicitly more about race, like the girl is Black and Puerto Rican and she kind of speaks Spanish, so it's like language, race. And then with American as Paneer Pie and the DAZEY kids, it's a little more focused on like culture and religion. And then the other reading we did was Roll With It. I can't remember the author of that book, but it gets into disability and our bodies and like class, like socioeconomics and family responsibilities and stuff like that. So we have those 3 readings to kind of practice, like, you know, just thinking about a character's identity as we're also thinking about our own identities and how all of these different pieces fit in. So their first writing project, which I need to grade like right now, was based off of that video, what it's like to grow up DAZEY American. And so for them, because they had made a identity chart already, they just chose one aspect of their identity. And so then their topic is what it's like to grow up as an oldest child, or as a girl, or as a basketball player, or as Chinese American, or as an immigrant, or as the child of a single mom, or whatever they felt like was an identity that they wanted to write about. So they're just a page long, and it's, you know, kind of one of those things where if like you do it, you get 100%. Just practice getting back into writing. I can kind of get a sense of their writing levels and style and get to know them a little bit. So I think that one went well. And then we're into our textbook now, doing My Favorite Chaperone is a story about a girl from Kazakhstan. So now we're looking again at that intersection of like a girl who's Asian but speaks Russian but lives in America and does gymnastics and has a strict family, like all of these different aspects of her identity and how they all impact each other. Oh, and the coolest thing I almost forgot to say, the author of As American as Paneer Pie, Supriya Kelkar, she offered to do a Zoom with my students. So we did that like at lunch one day. It was just like optional, but students came in and they could ask her questions, and they asked about like what books she liked reading when she was in middle school, like what she does when she gets writer's block, just different tips for writing and stuff. And it was really, really cool to hear from her. So that was so much fun. And those are the kind of things that, like, you know, during this situation where we're all at home, like sometimes it's easier to access things online. Like it might be a little bit easier right now to get a hold of one of your favorite authors and ask them to come do a 15-minute Zoom chat with your students. You might be able to do, you know, like online visits to museums and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to really like milk the whole online thing. Like whatever we can do virtually, let's do it. Yeah, so, you know, personally, we're going into 6 months of, you know, I haven't been to the gym, I haven't been to a nail salon, these are press-ons, haven't gotten to get my hair done or my eyebrows waxed, I haven't been to church, I haven't been to lunch with a friend, I haven't sat in a coffee shop, I haven't gone on a date with my husband, we haven't seen family members really, except for under like sad circumstances, like those types of things are just difficult. And as somebody who stresses a lot about politics and the historical implications of politics and what's happening right now, it's a stressful time. And you know, I just watch the comments that pop up on my YouTube videos and on Facebook and Instagram comments and just see like the complete rejection of reason and the very, very clear consequences of a society of people who, for the most part, don't know anything about US history, certainly don't know anything about the Reconstruction period, really don't understand the Civil Rights era, have no idea, obviously, about the very rich legacy of Black athletes as activists. Like, just personally, all of those things really, really stress me out. And I, you know, have trouble letting just like objective falsities go unremarked upon. So I've been busy, you know? I don't know if falsity is a word, but I'm trying to avoid cussing, so yeah. Overall, I am stressed and not doing well, but at the same time, I'm not sick, I have a job, I have an apartment, my husband and son are healthy, I love being home with them, my family's safe. Oh, they did have to evacuate because of like horrible fires that just keep getting worse and worse due to global warming. So yeah, like I'm always at a pretty high stress level, but I just operate there on very little sleep and mostly living on like iced coffee. So is it healthy? No. Is it gonna change soon? No. Will it change eventually? Yes. So I don't know if that's really the update that you were looking for, but that's what I've got for you right now. I hope you are all doing better than I am. I'm excited to share with you some of the projects and things that I've been working on. There's a lot that's like almost ready to come out. So yeah, a lot of canceled things, you know, over the summer there were so many things that didn't happen. So I guess it's nice that they've been replaced by things that I can do at my desk that I hardly ever leave except for to come to this desk. Before I go, let me just show you my slides. This is what I do to just like keep life interesting. I've got bedazzled slides, my Pasheen shirt, my ridiculous press-on nails, because how else can you express yourself right now? All right, I'm starving and I need to grade stuff and do a ton of work, so okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.